This video demonstrates how to connect WebScore Pro to an RFID reader from the listed vendors. For this demonstration, we'll use the Motorola FX7500, an RFID reader with 2 antenna ports. The setup steps are identical for all manufacturers, provided that the RFID reader supports the standard LLRP protocol and that the RFID reader is set to obtain its IP address automatically using DHCP from the Wi-Fi router. We will use a Linksys N300 Wi-Fi router as a way to connect our iPad with the RFID reader. This is a new model that we've just taken out of its packaging, and we will now connect it to AC power. We've also just unpackaged our RFID reader and antenna. The reader is a Motorola FX7500 and the antenna is a Motorola AN710. In order to connect the antenna to the reader, we're using a reverse polarity TNC male to N-type male adapter. Note that we're only using this antenna model so that we can demonstrate how the RFID chips are detected once all components have been set up and configured. You should work with your RFID reader vendor to determine the type and quantity of antenna needed for your event. To supply power and data to the RFID reader, we're using a TrendNet Gigabit Power over Ethernet Injector. This is a model TPE 113GI, and we will now connect it to AC power. Most newer RFID readers support Power over Ethernet, also referred to as PoE. For this demonstration, we're using Cat6 Ethernet cables to make the connection between our RFID reader, Wi-Fi router, and PoE injector. First, we will connect the PoE injector to the RFID reader. We do this by connecting one end of the red Ethernet cable to the power plus data out port on the PoE injector. The other end of the red Ethernet cable is connected to the RJ45 port on the RFID reader. Next, we will connect the PoE injector to the Wi-Fi router. We do this by connecting one end of the yellow Ethernet cable to the data in port on the PoE injector. The other end of the yellow Ethernet cable is connected to the Wi-Fi router. Make sure that the connection is made to one of the numbered Ethernet ports and not the port labeled Internet. This completes the hardware setup of our RFID equipment. Now let's go through the steps to configure our iPhone and WebScore Pro to work with the RFID equipment. The first step is to join our iPhone to the network of the Wi-Fi router. To do this, open the Settings app and then tap Wi-Fi. On the Wi-Fi panel, the network of the Wi-Fi router should show up under Choose a Network. In our case, it does show up and its network name is Linksys 03932. Tapping this name will initiate the Join Network process. Once you see the network name show up under the Wi-Fi heading with a check mark, you have successfully joined the network of the Wi-Fi router. This completes the configuration of our iPhone settings. The next step is to set up our race using WebScore Pro. To do this, open the WebScore app and tap Time a Race, Create New Race, Race Details, and Racer Setup. On the Racer Setup panel, turn on bib numbers and Chip ID. Tap the Chip ID button to navigate to the Chip-timing panel. On the Chip-timing panel, turn on Chip ID equals bib. Note that this setting is used when the chip ID is programmed to match the bib number. Next, tap the Scan for Reader button. On the Scan for Reader panel, tap Scan. This will initiate an IP address scan for the RFID reader. Once the reader has been found, its IP address will be displayed, at which point you can tap the Done button. Back on the chip timing panel, select a value of 10 seconds for the Do Not Detect Any Chips After Start option. Note that we're setting this option for demonstration purposes only. We're now ready to test the connection to our RFID reader. Tapping the Test Connection button initiates the test, and if successful, you'll see a pop-up showing a successful connection. Clear the pop-up by tapping OK, and then tap Results Options, then Name List to navigate to the Pick Names panel. Choose the racers who will participate in this race, and then tap Start List. On the Start List panel, we will automate the assignment of bibs by tapping the Bib Automate toolbar button. We will assign our bibs in start list order, and the first bib number will be number 1. Tap Done to return to the Start List panel, and then navigate to the Race Start panel. This completes the setup of our race using WebScorer Pro, and we're now ready to start our race. Start the race by tapping the Start Race button, and then switch to Fast Tab View by tapping the Fast Tab View toolbar button. For this demonstration, we'll show the chips and chip detects by the RFID hardware in the left-hand window, and the corresponding timestamps written by WebScorer Pro in the right-hand window. As the racer with bib number 2 approaches, their chip is detected and the corresponding timestamp is written by WebScorer Pro. We see the same behavior for the racer with bib number 3. As the racer with bib number 10 approaches, we see the chip detect, but since this racer was not added to the start list, their name is not displayed, only the chip ID. This can be easily fixed by tapping the green arrow to the right of the timestamp and adding the racer's name and bib number. After adding the name and bib and returning to the Race Finish panel, we can see that the newly entered name and bib number have been automatically assigned and replaced the chip ID. As additional racers approach, we will continue to see their chip detects and timestamps written by WebScorer Pro. This completes the video on RFID chip timing with WebScorer Pro.